Top 25 Jmeter interview questions and answers. Apache Jmeter is one of the most widely used open-source tools for performance, load, and stress testing of web applications and services. Whether you're preparing for a QA, performance testing, or DevOps role, understanding Jmeter interview questions can significantly boost your confidence. This video covers the top 25 Jmeter interview questions and answers that are commonly asked by hiring managers. Each answer is explained clearly to help you understand both theoretical concepts and real-world usage. These questions cover basics, components, scripting, reporting, and best practices, making this guide ideal for beginners and experienced testers alike. 1. What is Apache Jmeter? Apache Jmeter is an open-source performance testing tool developed by the Apache Software Foundation. It is mainly used to test the performance, load, and scalability of web applications, APIs, and other services. Jmeter simulates multiple users sending requests to a server and measures response time, throughput, and resource usage. Although initially designed for web applications, it now supports testing databases, FTP servers, SOAP and REST APIs, and message queues. Jmeter helps identify bottlenecks, performance issues, and system limits before applications are released into production. 2. What types of testing can be done using Jmeter? Jmeter supports several types of testing, including load testing, performance testing, stress testing, spike testing, and endurance testing. Load testing checks how an application performs under expected user loads. Stress testing evaluates system behavior under extreme conditions. Spike testing observes how the system reacts to sudden increases in traffic. Endurance testing ensures stability over long periods. Jmeter can also be used for functional testing of APIs. Its flexibility makes it suitable for both performance engineers and QA testers. 3. What are the main components of Jmeter? The main components of Jmeter include the test plan, thread group, samplers, listeners, timers, assertions, config elements, and controllers. The test plan defines the overall test structure. Thread groups simulate virtual users. Samplers send requests to servers. Listeners collect and display results. Timers control request delays. Assertions validate responses. Config elements provide default values. And controllers manage request execution logic. Together, these components help design, execute, and analyze performance tests effectively. 4. What is a test plan in Jmeter? A test plan is a top-level container in Jmeter that defines what and how to test. It contains all the elements required to execute a test, such as thread groups, samplers, listeners, and config elements. The test plan also stores user-defined variables and configuration settings. It represents the complete testing strategy and can be saved and reused. Without a test plan, Jmeter cannot execute any tests, making the foundation of every Jmeter project. 5. What is a thread group? A thread group defines a number of virtual users, ramp-up period, and loop count for a test. Each thread represents one user executing test actions. The ramp-up period controls how quickly users start, helping avoid sudden server overload. The loop count specifies how many times each user repeats the test. Thread groups allow testers to simulate realistic user behavior and traffic patterns, making them essential for load and performance testing scenarios. 6. What is a sampler in Jmeter? A sampler is a component that sends requests to a server and records responses. Examples include HTTP request, JDBC request, FTP request, and SOAP request samplers. Each sampler represents a specific type of action performed by a virtual user. Samplers are placed inside thread groups and define what operations are tested. Without samplers, Jmeter would have no request to execute, making them a core part of any test plan. 7. What are listeners in Jmeter? Listeners collect, process, and display test execution results. They show metrics such as response time, throughput, error rate, and latency. Common listeners include view results tree, summary report, aggregate report, and graph results. While listeners are useful for analysis, too many listeners can consume memory and affect performance. For large-scale tests, it is recommended to use non-GUI mode and generate reports after execution. 8. What is a timer in Jmeter? Timers control the delay between requests sent by virtual users. By default, Jmeter sends requests without pauses, which may not reflect real user behavior. Timers such as constant timer, uniform random timer, and Gaussian random timer help simulate realistic think time. Timers are applied before samplers execute. Using timers helps prevent unrealistic load spikes and ensures more accurate performance test results. 9. What are assertions in Jmeter? Assertions are used to validate responses received from the server. They check whether the application behaves as expected during testing. Common assertions include response assertion, duration assertion, and JSON assertion. Assertions can validate response codes, text headers, or response time. If an assertion fails, Jmeter marks the request as failed. Assertions help ensure both performance and functional correctness of the application. 10. What is a controller in Jmeter? Controllers manage the execution order and logic of samplers. Jmeter provides logic controllers, such as loop controller, if controller, while controller, and transaction controller. These controllers help simulate complex user flows and conditional behavior. Controllers allow testers to group requests, apply conditions, and control iteration. They enhance test flexibility and make test plans more readable and maintainable. 11. What is a config element? Config elements provide default configuration values for samplers. Examples include HTTP request defaults, CSV dataset config, and user-defined variables. They reduce duplication by applying shared settings across multiple samplers. Config elements are executed before samplers, ensuring consistent data usage. They help make test plans cleaner, easier to update, and more reusable across different environments. 12. What is CSV dataset config? CSV dataset config is used for parameterization in Jmeter. It reads data from a CSV file and passes values to samplers as variables. This is useful for testing with multiple users' credentials or input values. It helps avoid hard-coded data and improves test realism. CSV dataset config supports sequential and random data access and is widely used in data-driven testing. 13. What is correlation in Jmeter? Correlation is the process of capturing dynamic values from server responses and reusing them in subsequent requests. These values may include session IDs, tokens, or cookies. Jmeter uses post-processors like regular expression extractor or JSON extractor for correlation. Without correlation, tests may fail because dynamic values change on each request. Correlation ensures test accuracy and realistic user simulation. 14. What is a post-processor? Post-processors execute after a sampler runs and before the response is sent to listeners. They are commonly used for correlation and response data extraction. Examples include regular expression extractor, JSON extractor, and XPath extractor. Post-processors help capture dynamic values and prepare data for subsequent requests. They play a key role in creating reliable and reusable test scripts. 15. What is non-GUI mode in Jmeter? Non-GUI mode is used to run Jmeter tests from the command line. It consumes fewer system resources compared to GUI mode and is recommended for load testing. Non-GUI mode allows execution on servers and integration with CI/CD pipelines. Test results can be saved as files and converted into HTML reports. It improves performance, scalability, and automation capabilities. 16. What is distributed testing in Jmeter? Distributed testing allows Jmeter to simulate heavy load by using multiple machines. One system acts as the master, while others act as slaves generating load. This approach helps overcome hardware limitations of a single machine. Distributed testing is useful for large-scale performance testing. Proper network configuration and time synchronization are essential for accurate results. 17. What is throughput in Jmeter? Throughput represents the number of requests processed by the server per unit of time, usually measured in requests per second. It indicates system efficiency under load. Higher throughput generally means better performance, but it must be analyzed alongside response time and error rate. Throughput is displayed in listeners, such as aggregate report and summary report. 18. What is latency in Jmeter? Latency measures the time taken for the server to respond to a request after descent. It excludes client-side processing time. Latency helps identify network delays and server responsiveness. Lower latency indicates better performance. Monitoring latency along with response time provides deeper insights into system behavior and potential bottlenecks. 19. What is response time in Jmeter? Response time is a total time taken to receive a response after sending a request. It includes network delay, server processing time, and data transfer time. Response time is a key performance metric used to evaluate user experience. Jmeter displays response time in various listeners and reports for detailed analysis. 20. What is ramp-up period? The ramp-up period defines how long Jmeter takes to start all virtual users. A proper ramp-up prevents sudden load spikes that may crash the server. For example, 100 users with a 100-second ramp-up start 1 user per second. Choosing the correct ramp-up period ensures realistic load simulation and stable test execution. 21. What is a preprocessor? Preprocessors run before a sampler executes. They are used to modify request data or set variables. Examples include user parameters and JSR223 preprocessor. Preprocessors help prepare dynamic input data and customize requests. They are useful for complex test scenarios where request values change based on logic. 22. What is JSR223 in Jmeter? JSR223 allows scripting in languages like Groovy within Jmeter. It is used for custom logic, data manipulation, and advanced validations. JSR223 is faster and more efficient than older scripting components. It provides flexibility and is widely used for complex performance testing requirements. 23. What is an aggregate report? Aggregate report is a listener that provides summarized test results. It displays metrics such as average response time, throughput, error percentage, and sample count. Aggregate report helps analyze overall test performance quickly. It is commonly used for reporting and decision-making after test execution. 24. How does Jmeter handle cookies and sessions? Jmeter manages cookies using the HTTP Cookie Manager. It automatically stores and sends cookies with requests, simulating real user sessions. This helps maintain session continuity during testing. Proper cookie handling is essential for testing authenticated and stateful applications accurately. 25. What are best practices for using Jmeter? Best practices include using non-GUI mode for load tests, minimizing listeners, parameterizing test data, and properly correlating dynamic values. Tests should be modular, reusable, and well-documented. Monitoring server resources alongside Jmeter metrics is also important. Following best practices ensures accurate, reliable, and scalable performance testing. These top 25 Jmeter interview questions and answers cover the most important concepts you need to succeed in performance testing interviews. Understanding both theory and practical usage will help you answer confidently and stand out to recruiters. Practice creating test plans, analyzing reports, and running tests in non-GUI mode to strengthen your skills. If you found this guide helpful, consider revising these questions regularly and applying them in real projects. Stay consistent, keep learning, and you'll be well prepared for your next Jmeter interview. Best of luck with your preparation.